Well, here we are. We have the gang all together, all at the same time. And it was maybe 11 months ago when I had you guys all together. Tonya
Mhm.
joined just a few months later, and we talked about your aspirations to hike the Appalachian Trail. And all of you have successfully done so, which I've gotten messages from people that said, well, that's incredible. You had 5 people participating in this, and all 5 of you completed it. That's or all 4 of you. There's a couple that's out there that I've talked to, but all 4 of you successfully completed this trail. That is great. Congratulations again, all 4 of you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And congrats to everyone else.
Now, you guys have, in the case of Justin, Stan, Tonya, you've put out some great videos, and Jake, you've been blogging your trip.
Kinda.
Kind of.
Didn't do as well about that as I would like to.
But you shared this with everybody, which isn't an easy thing to do. And I know with some of Justin's videos, Justin, you were putting it out there, the good and the bad, which is
A lot
important,
of the
right?
bad.
Right. It's easy for people who are considering doing this to say, wow, they're having so much fun out there. I'll just go out and hike the AT myself. And I'll go around and we'll start with Justin. Was it what you expected, Justin?
In some ways, yes. In other ways, no. I was expecting the physical challenge. I was expecting to be mentally and maybe emotionally challenged at certain points. And all of that turned out to be the reality. Um, I guess what I wasn't expecting was the amount of loneliness that I felt for pretty much the entire hike. I was pretty much waiting to run into like my group of people, my Tramily or a solid hiking buddy that I could sort of rely on, and that never sort of happened. So that I did not expect at all because I'm a pretty social person and I like engaging with people. I like meeting people, and I was excited when I went out there and I thought that it was going to happen, but that just didn't happen the way that I wanted it to.
Jake, now I've asked this question to all of you when I interviewed you in your post hike episodes, but just for the people listening who didn't take the time to listen to those episodes, but should go back and listen to them. How about you, Jake?
I not at all what I expected in a lot of ways. I think what I got out of it was either different than I thought, or I got what I was hoping for. For me, this was kind of like a spiritual, like a pilgrimage. I went to do this because I figured it would break me and I'd come back together in a way that I liked. And all of the things I got out of it felt different than I thought they would. Um, I think physically it was about as hard as I expected, having faith this due to physical issues. So I was ready for that. I had sort of a similar situation, I think, to Justin, and I never really quite found my Tramily. But for me, it was almost like that was more my choice, and that I loved Tramley's, but I like to be the stepchild. So I think I thought I was going to find 3 very best friends for the rest of my life. And I ended up getting out of it was probably 20 or 30 really awesome people that I maybe get to hike with them the whole time, but they'll have a special place in my heart forever.
Tonya, how about you? Did this meet your expectations, or were you disappointed in what you got out of it?
Well, I definitely didn't expect my dog to be a better hiker than I am, which he is. Not even joking. I had so many people kind of dissing on in the beginning about taking a small dog on a 2,200-mile journey. I knew he could do it, but seriously, that dog out-hiked me by the end. So I think, I joke about that, but I really wasn't expecting a physical challenge. I wasn't expecting it to be quite as physically challenging as it ended up being for me due to I developed plantar fasciitis and Achilles tendonitis and was constantly walking through pain, especially by the end. Like every day I was hurt. And it was also a very spiritual journey for me, which I did go into it wanting time alone with my thoughts and with God in His creation. But it was even more transformative than I expected it to be. And 2 months later, I'm still processing the things I learned about myself and about God on trail.
That's great. And Stan, how about you?
I was expecting a mental and physical challenge, but I think it was more so than what I really anticipated, especially when we got up northeast. It was just really demanding. And so yeah, that was one little surprise for me. I thought I would just kind of blow through this stuff, and I thought one of the things that could take me off trail would be like a bad knee, or I screw something up on my foot or ankle or something. I never had any problems with my feet, with my knees, my back, or anything like that. I did not expect to end up with a double hernia, and that I walk on for 1,500 miles, and that became what was the thing that could have taken me out, was a hernia, and that was totally unexpected. So yeah, that the physical and mental challenges were more than I anticipated. I didn't have any big transformation in my heart or in my life. Um, you know, Spiritually, in a sense, it was a great spiritual experience for me, but I did learn a lot about myself and about other people, and it was tremendous for that. But I don't feel like changed in any particular way. Um, yeah, I guess that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, and the
As your
reason why I
hiking
wanted,
partner, I'll say that I needed someone stable and steadfast, and God provided that through Stan. So I was the one doing all the changing, and he was just there for the ride.
I wasn't leaving, that's for sure.
that's gonna lead into my next question. But before I say that, some of the feedback I got after I'd finished interviewing all of you after your post hike interviews was those were great interviews, and I was amazed at how different the experiences were from all of you. Uh, and that is pretty incredible. You all hike the same trail. You all walk away with a little bit something different, a little bit different experience. So my next question is this, and we'll start with you on this one, Jake. So this time, Justin, you get a lot of time to think about it. Uh, was there a time on the trail where you considered quitting? I know you had a challenge in Vermont when you were going to do the long trail, and I probably should take some of the blame for that because I encouraged you. Hey, you're up there hiking the long trail. But did you have any moments where you thought, you know what? I think I might go home. I think I'm done.
To tell you the truth, and this is like that's probably the hardest moment on trail for me to talk about. And I try not to catastrophize it too much, but like when I was sitting in that shelter in Vermont, there was a moment like and we'd had some nights in shelters where nobody showed up, and I was like, hey, if nobody shows up here, like I may not have the opportunity. You know what I mean? Like I don't know what my body's going to do to me in the next couple of hours. I can't thermoregulate. Like, I don't know how far the source is. I heard it's far. I heard the marked one's not the right one. Like, it could have, there were some moments there where I really thought, like, I've made a huge mistake here and this could cost me. But I think after keys, I had some Achilles tendonitis. Like, I took a lot of zeros in the traditional sense. I took a lot of extended periods of time off for
Everything seems to have frozen up here.
There's no way I'm going to make it. And then that time in Vermont, I was kind of nervous that if I kept having those kind of issues, that I wasn't going to be able to finish safely. Other than that, I don't really think. The thing that was fortunate for me is I had already failed once and had the opportunity to spend an entire year feeling what quitting felt like. And so it really wasn't as much of a thought in my mind as I think for a lot of people, because I had already sat with it and there was no way. I knew there wasn't going to be a third shot at this one for me, unless I like broke a leg. I knew that if I willingly quit, that I wasn't going to take another year out of my life to do this. And so it was really like a finality. And I knew that would haunt me for the rest of my life. So that kept me on the pretty straight and narrow. But there was like a couple of hours, not even on the AT. I'm up on the long trail in Vermont, where I didn't want to quit, but I wasn't sure what was going to happen to me. And that was probably the most harrowing moment of the whole experience for me, I think.
How about you, Tonya? Did you have that moment where you said, what am I doing out here? I could be in my RV more comfortable.
So yes and no. I am a very, very determined and dedicated person. And when I start something, I finish it. Like I'm one of these people where it's like failure is not an option. Failure is, one of my greatest fears, right alongside rejection. They go very similarly hand in hand to one another. So when I stepped foot on the trail, I was like, I'm not getting off this trail unless I break my leg. Now, having said that, there were a lot of things that were thrown at me on the trail. I experienced plantar fasciitis, Achilles tendonitis, norovirus, heat stroke, migraine, like various physical ailments that kept delaying me that I kept having to push through. The worst being that ongoing plantar fasciitis and Achilles tendonitis pain that would get worse when we were going over extremely rocky sections. So that moment, if you want to call it that, did come on a day in New Hampshire when we were going down Madison from the presidential range, and it was all rocks all day. And I had a lot that was built up in me in that moment. I think throughout the hike, I allowed the physical pain to start translating into emotional and mental duress as well. And I get inside my head and I'd start telling myself, like, you can't do this. What do you think you're doing out here? Everyone's faster than you. Everyone's better than you, and I would just start doing the whole like not enough type of thing inside my own head. That particular day that was going on, it was just grueling terrain. Zobi had a injury. He actually wasn't with me that day. And we got to a point where we stopped at a creek to get water. And I had a complete and total breakdown. I just hated everything about through hiking in that moment. Like I was like, I don't want to gather and filter water anymore. I was like, get me off this trail. I want to go home. And I just broke and just sat on a rock and cried. And Stan just let me cry it out on his shoulder. And he was just like, I think we need to zero tomorrow, which we did. And that was what I needed to regroup. I mean, I'll be honest, the next day we got on trail, I still didn't really want to be on trail, but I wasn't getting off trail either. But I needed that zero to just, refresh. I didn't think about the trail. I didn't do anything about the trail. I didn't put any vlogs together. I sat in a jacuzzi at a hotel most of the day. But yeah, that was the moment. If someone would have pulled up alongside me on the trail and said, get in, I'm taking you back to your RV, you might have had to hold me back. And then I would have told them to turn around and let me get back on trail because I was going to finish this thing.
All right. You just needed a good timeout. That's all.
Yes.
How about you, Stan?
No, never. I never had the inclination to quit. The thing that, stuck in my mind was, how can I keep going? I don't want to quit. I'm afraid I might have to at least maybe get off for 2-3 weeks, get hernias repaired or rested or something. And man, we got clear up to the 100-mile wilderness, and I still had questions in my mind if possibly I would have to get off the trail for these hernias, even up to that point. And it was just day by day that I was just like one foot in front of the other and get this thing done. And I was ready for the hike to be done, but never would have I just quit because I was frustrated or I just wasn't getting anything out of it anymore. I didn't like being there. There were things I didn't like. I mean, it seems like, we have some things in common. Some of us who in Vermont, like that, we hit the southern section of Vermont in a hot stretch, and it was buggy, mosquitoes, no views, overgrown, and it was just like, man, if we could do anything to just bypass this section, it'd be great. But no, never wanted to quit, and wouldn't have quit.
I know Stan and Justin, you guys practically walked past your homes on this trail.
Yeah.
You weren't, neither one of you, both of you had reached points on the trail where you weren't very far from where you live.
Mm-hmm.
So I always wonder how that plays into this. Justin, how about you? Did you have that moment like going past Baltimore where, hey, I can go home and be with my friends and family, or did you have that moment somewhere on the trail where you said, I've had enough?
Yeah, I definitely had moments with an S where I was ready to quit, pretty much starting from the day that I entered New York. Like from then through to Katahdin, I hated everything about the Appalachian Trail. I wanted to quit every single day. I was so sick of it. I was over it. I hated hiking. I hated being around other hikers who loved being on trail. Like it was so irritating to me. I don't know what it was. It was like something went off in my brain and it was like, we don't need to do this anymore. But I actually did get off in New York for about a week. And I was like, we're just gonna get on the train and go back to Baltimore. And I just sat there in the city and I was like, we're going home, aren't we? Yeah, I think we are. And then like 6 days later, my friend is driving me back to the trail because she literally wouldn't let me go home. And I was like, okay, fine. But yeah, I didn't really want to come back to Baltimore because this isn't necessarily my favorite place in the world, but I knew that I didn't want to be on trail anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I think, even if it's a few hundred miles or if it's one of the big three trails, everybody, I think, has those moments, or it's not uncommon, I should say, to have those moments where you're thinking, I mean, I did the long trail and I had that moment where I said, you know what, I've hiked enough. I'll come back and finish it next year. But so, doing a commitment to hike the Appalachian Trail, you don't always have that convenience because in a lot of cases you're taking time off from work, time away from your family. So the decision comes down to, and I know, Jake, this is a situation with you. I need to finish because I don't know if I'm getting back out here. I don't know if there'll be another time in my life where I'll have this opportunity to take 5 months or 6 months out of my life and hike something like this. Now, this next question, we'll start with Tonya. And with this, just in a quick one sentence, do you have a fondest memory of the Appalachian Trail?
Oh my gosh, that's so hard. And you're starting with me.
I know. And I know that's why I'm saying one sentence, because you ask me my fondest memory of any one of my hikes, and it's not, I can go on for hours. So here's the challenge. In one sentence, what was your fondest memory?
So many. This is going to sound strange, but the 300 miles I hiked alone, no offense to Stan, because I have a lot of fond memories of Stan. But I started with a Tramily for the first 200, and then I hiked 1700 with Stan. There was 300 miles in the middle. That was the most transformative work and where I grew the most and knew I could do this thing and I didn't need anyone else.
Great. Yes. How about you, Stan?
Probably finishing with my kids on Katahdin.
Yeah. I got to hike with my middle son this year out on the Tahoe Rim Trail, and that's a pretty cool feeling. Justin?
For me would be the few days that I was sort of trapped at Fontana Village with a couple of hikers who I met, Neon and my friend Lorraine, which I don't know what her trail name ended up being. I think it was either like Sparkle or something like that. But we had a good time at
Right.
Fontana Village.
I should have prefaced this question with it doesn't have to be necessarily on the trail because I'm like Justin. Some of my fondest memories when I did the long trail were the things that went on off the trail. Were those days in
Yeah,
town, those town days.
yeah, we were
Jake,
waiting out the snowstorm before going into the Smokies, but
right? And
Mm.
that's a if you're in with some people that you get along with, it could be a lot of fun. You can have a lot of fun in town.
Um,
Jake,
his mic's off.
yeah, we don't have any audio for you, Jake.
Sorry.
That's okay.
The 100-mile wilderness all the way to Katahdin was probably the best time on trail for me, but specifically we took a Camp Zero at Antler Camp, and it was the most beautiful starry sky I have ever seen in my life, reflected off clear, smooth water with the aurora borealis and a Katahdin. I just can't in one sentence, but that was it.
So yeah, those memories that you just struggle to articulate are awesome, right? It's just as not to be make this into a cliche, but words can't explain the awesomeness of what you were experiencing.
No,
Right.
like
Now we'll move on to regret. Same rule. It could be a regret you have on this trip, on or off the trail. Like maybe I should have stayed here. Maybe I should have went into this town when I didn't. Or maybe I should have packed this piece of gear or that piece of gear. We'll start with you, Stan.
Mm. Tough one again. Um, I think I would have. I think I would have redone the way I vlogged a little bit, and I wish I would have been more descriptive in my vlogging to tell what I'm going through and how I'm feeling and things like that, as opposed to just showing scenery and putting it together with music. I love being cinematic on my vlog, but I wish I would have had a little bit more of Tonya in me. That Tonya can just sit there and talk on the camera. Justin can do that too. He can just sit there and talk, and I have that. I'm not that good at that. But I wish I would have developed that a little bit more, and told a little bit more about what I was doing, how I was feeling, what I was thinking over the course of that day and experiencing.
Well, I enjoyed your video, Stan.
Thanks.
All three of you had great videos, and there's different styles, and I think that's what makes it interesting. If everybody did them the same,
Yeah,
who'd watch them, right? You just pick one person and watch them. And
true.
Stan, I'm like you. I'm trying to build my YouTube channel right now, and I just struggle when I get to talk when I get in front of the camera. I could do this all day, but when I'm going to film myself to put on YouTube, I can't. I'm still struggling to get myself comfortable with that.
Mm.
Justin, how about you?
I don't know if I can think of any regrets. I guess I would say maybe there were some moments where I would have taken an extra 0 or 2, but I chose to hike out because nobody else was taking extra zeros. And I knew I should have just went ahead and did what I wanted to do anyway. But I don't know. There's kind of this like secondhand pressure when you're like taking so many zeros and everybody else is only doing like 1 or none. Like I took probably 40 zeros and everybody else is like, oh, took less than 20. And sometimes I like caved and I hiked out when I really didn't want to go. So I regret that every time I did it.
Justin, you were crushing miles. There needs to be some sort of reward to that. And if that reward is you get to take extra zeros, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's what I thought, but everybody else wanted to keep hiking. So.
Tell them hike your own hike. Jake,
I think like especially listening to you guys and like where I'm at now and what the direction I want to go. My biggest regret is that I didn't write more. I wrote a couple articles up until trail days, and then after trail days, I really immersed in the hike, and I just couldn't find the words. And I've realized since getting off trail that like I do want to be a storyteller. That's what I want to do with my life, because I've been so blessed to do so many cool things. I wish I would have written more. But I think more importantly for folks that are considering a thru hike, more applicable to you would be, there are a lot of people that I wish I would have slowed down for. A lot of people where I heroed a town, I was the 10 miles into town, 10 miles out of town guy. And I left some people behind that when the end of the trail came, I thought, man, I wish I would have seen Sonar and Zen and Soapy Joe again. Like, there are so many people that I loved hiking around, and I didn't make the time to make them more of a part of my journey. And I think for people that want to go do this, keep that in mind.
Yeah, I asked you all in the interviews because everybody likes a good scary animal story. I know when I hitchhike, I joke that it's kind of how I am able to get rides. First question is, do you see any bears? See any snakes? And I think, well, maybe I better make something up so they don't kick me out of the car. Only kidding, I never made any stories up to get a ride. Didn't get that desperate, I should say. And I ask all of you this, but I have also had hikers on, and somebody recently who did a lot of hiking this past year, who said they didn't have any animal encounters that were scary, but some human encounters that were scary for them. We'll start this time with you, Justin. Any animal or human encounters that you found maybe weren't safe or maybe just surprised you?
No, not really. I saw like one bear on trail, or a mom and her cub, so that's two, I guess, and like one rattlesnake. And both of those were like the easiest encounters I could have had, where like literally nothing happened. And I was like, okay. As far as people go, I don't think so. I mean, some of those towns, yeah, my guard was up a little bit, but everybody who I experienced for the most part was nice and friendly. Maybe if I go back and watch my videos, I may have said something that I don't remember, but from what I can recall, I didn't really have any issues.
It's funny because people that don't hike, it's as if they think that at every turn there's going to be a bear that's going to jump out at you. At every step you take, there's going to be a rattlesnake across the trail. And it's just not like that. Not even close. If you get to see a bear or two, maybe.
Yeah.
Everybody around me was seeing everything and I was seeing nothing. And I'm like, all right, y'all keep the animal encounters and I'll just mosey on down the trail.
I agree with you, Justin. If I go out and I don't see a bear or a snake, I'm good.
Yeah.
Jake?
I got rattled at it was weird. I got rattled at a few times by rattlesnakes. Like as I'm walking by and like I didn't even see them. Weirdest thing happened. I walked like by this section of trail and this guy 10 feet behind me got swarmed by like yellow jackets. And I didn't even notice they were there. And he got stung like 10, 11 times. He's right behind me. Had a bear poking around my tent. And then there was a hiker feed. Justin, I know you were at Trail Days, Stan and Tonya, I don't know about you, but the Billville Trail Magic crew that has that setup in there, they had a hiker feed in Pennsylvania, and there was this guy who was like a local guy that I guess one of the Billville people knew, and he invited me to this whiskey distillery, and the understanding was that I was going to be driving this back because I don't drink. And then this man decides to partake in various forms of different substances, keeps me out till 1 a.m, and will not let me drive his car. So that one was a little nerve-wracking. And then I get to my tent at like 1:30. I'm exhausted. This man doesn't understand hiker midnight. I've told him 12 times. He doesn't get it. And then a bear starts sniffing around my tent. And I'm like, I'm sleeping with my food right now because I didn't have time to hang my bag. So my scariest animal encounter and my scariest human encounter were the same. Now, the guy didn't want to hurt me. He's really generous. He even bought me like a town outfit to go hang out in, but just it did put me in a bit of an uncomfortable situation.
Read my book, talk about uncomfortable situation. I mean, and they were harmless ones, similar to yours, Jake, but a guy picking me up in a car that sounded like the brakes maybe needed to be replaced 100,000 miles ago, who had to move all the Pabst Blue Ribbon cans out of the way so I can get in while he was on his way to the liquor store. That's a little scary. Or the girl that went around the cross bucks at the railroad tracks, that scared the crap out of me. I'm not going to be afraid.
Or just wait till it's the shuttle driver cracking a 12-pack while you're driving down the road. I'm paying you to.
Well, we did have a bear encounter. It was fine. Big black bear in New Jersey moseyed right on up beside our campsite, but he was way more interested in the blueberries than in us. So once we realized that, we're just like, okay, cool. Hey, pose for the camera, and took a bunch of videos and pictures of them. Copperhead did kind of take a swing at Stan. He was getting him off trail, and he, lurched out. I was behind filming it, so he wasn't trying to get me. He was trying to get Stan. I think Stan might agree. The only odd human encounter that I can think of that we had was that. Remember that weird screaming that we heard in Virginia? We were walking. It was just before Shenandoah. We were approaching. What was that? Rock Gap or Rockfish Gap or whatever that is. Right before you get off trail. Right before you start Shenandoah, and there was, I swear to God, either this person being tortured and murdered, or he was absolutely crazy and running around in the woods. And either way, we were getting as fast as we could. There was just this blood-curdling, ongoing screaming. It sounded like someone was having, like acid poured on their body or something for miles as we were walking through that section of Virginia, and we just kept looking like, just keep going, just keep going. But that was it. I never saw
those are my
headlines
two
about any,
answers too,
murder
by the
happening
way.
in the woods in Virginia.
You and Stan, you guys
That's what
could
happens
share
when you
that response. Yeah, that
Yeah,
would
we're
unnerve
sharing
me.
that response.
That would make it a little difficult to fall asleep for me, at least. Something like that. Yeah, through hiking, a big part of through hiking is, of course, getting off the trail and going into town. And nothing is better than that meal after eating trail food for 5 straight days, right? Even the worst hamburger, worst slice of pizza is going to taste like the best you've ever had.
Absolutely.
This time we'll start with Jake. Your favorite off-trail meal. Your favorite off-trail. We'll try this again. Your favorite off-trail meal.
Okay, so specifically, I guess the most memorable. My girlfriend is from a little town called Chambersburg, Pennsylvania, and it's right off of Caledonia State Park, which like the trail goes right through Caledonia State Park. And so my buddy and I got taken off, and for dinner the first night, they weren't sure what to cook for us and whatever. So like, okay, we're gonna order out, and we ordered calzones. And I was like, I'm gonna get a large calzone because I'm hungry. And a medium's not going to do it. Like a regular is not going to do it. And I didn't understand that this place's large calzone was 16 inches. So like, imagine a 16-inch, like that's your extra large pie folded in half and stuffed like 4 or 5 inches thick with everything you can imagine. Oh my God. And I ate like 2/3 of the thing and then just passed out. I was absolutely stuffed, but it was so comically big. And we each ordered one of them. So me and my buddy are both sitting there with this thing going, dude, I got hiker hunger, but there's no way. And that was probably the most memorable meal that I had had in town.
Tonya?
My favorite food is lobster. So I was walking to Maine to have Maine lobster.
Yeah,
I had
Justin's over there
lobster
agreeing with you.
every chance. And I had lobster everything, fill in the blank. Lobster mac and cheese, lobster ravioli, lobster tacos, lobster ice cream. I had it all.
Stan?
Well, I would say ice cream.
No, ice cream has to be your answer.
Ice
It's
cream has to be.
ridiculous
That's
how
really
much
not a
ice
meal.
cream you had.
Oh, it is. It
That's
is,
not-
Stan. Come on. For me, it's a meal. When I get off trail, ice cream's a meal for me.
All right, then ice cream and anything cold to drink other than a beer.
Justin?
I'm with Tonya. The entire state of Maine, I wanted everything, lobster, seafood, and I ordered it all. And it was delicious.
Amen.
Right. Now, the food can be a bit redundant, to say the least, for that many days or weeks and months out on the trail. So is it possible that there is a favorite meal you had on the trail? Was that one favorite meal that you actually, from beginning to end, were looking forward to, or one that stands out to you on your journey? We'll start with you, Tonya.
Are Sour Patch Kids a meal?
Yeah.
I made them one.
It's a food group.
Yeah.
I
Stan?
did eat them from Georgia to Maine. You know,
Did
it's
you?
really interesting. Everyone talked about how they got like so sick of oatmeal in the first week or like month. And I ate it from Georgia to Maine almost every morning while camping, and I never got sick of it.
Well,
So
that's incredible. I
I
ate it
bought
on the
the
long trail, and it took me a year and a half before I would eat oatmeal at home again.
So here's the secret. You got to buy the freeze-dried fruit. You can get it at Walmart or CVS. Put that in with it, and then the water plumps them all back up. So you got like fruit in your oatmeal, and then it doesn't taste bad anymore, or
All right.
whatever.
Stan?
Ice cream.
You had ice cream on the trail?
Oh, on the trail.
Yeah, on trail.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, we had it on trail vending machines for $4.
yeah, exactly. In Harriman State Park, $4 vending machines for sure. You mean you're talking repeatedly?
Yeah, like your trail
Like
food.
everything favorite trail food. Gosh, I guess I would have to say like the Mountain House meals or whatever they were. You know, whatever kind I could get my hands on. I would constantly try to get freeze-dried meals. I didn't like doing the nor pasta sides, anything like that. So I would try to, whenever we got into a place that had freeze-dried meals, I would get those. So yeah, that'd probably have to be my on the trail favorite.
And
Great.
Butterfingers.
And Butterfinger, yeah. I wasn't gonna tell them that. You know, I figured I already got ice cream there. Everybody's gonna, be killing me for that. And I'm gonna tell them Butterfingers. But she's right. Butterfingers until it started heating up outside and I couldn't eat those anymore because they melted. And after that, it was M&M's, sucking M&M's.
No, I wasn't even gonna go there. Okay, do you suck or do you bite M&Ms?
Oh, I just put them in my mouth and I have them for myself on the trail.
But do you
Okay,
actually
do you suck
the
on them
candy
or just
coating off
automatically
first?
chew them?
No, I'll suck on them. I'll let them just sit in my mouth and let the
Okay, you're
candy
another
melt
Yeah.
off and the chocolate melt off. And
I'm
if
too
it's the
impatient.
peanut filled ones, yeah.
Y'all aren't normal.
You're a cruncher. You crunch your M&Ms, Justin. Let's go around you. You crunch.
Yeah,
How about you, Jake? Do you
I-
crunch?
I
crunch
chew them and
Crunch
swallow.
M&Ms. Justin and I can eat together.
How about you,
M&Ms and
Jake?
lobster.
You a
Two
cruncher or
weirdos over
you're a
here.
sucker?
Yeah, you can suck on your M&Ms all you want. I'm not a sucker.
Stan, we're all alone here. Stan, if you and I go out on a hike together, it's going to be ice cream and M&Ms.
Oh yeah,
Sucking
we'll
M&Ms.
do it.
Right.
I was too impatient. I wanted the chocolate, so I had to like chew through the candy part.
Yeah, there you go.
I like to think I'm getting, a bit of candy, a bit, the candy on the outside. I'd like to break it down. I probably overthink things though. How about you, Justin? Are there any meals that you had on the trail that stand out that were good, or are they all just, by the time you finish, you're like, I can't eat any of this anymore?
I was really big on the dehydrated, like backpacker meals too. Good to Go had a lot of good ones that I liked, and they were really calorie dense. So I bought those a lot. Um, Anything like chili or mac and cheese, I always had on me.
I've heard good things about Good to Go meals. I've heard quite a few people say that the qualities are high quality, nutritionally speaking, and tasty.
They're one of the few
Can we do
meals.
like can we just do a quick survey of everybody's favorite Good to Go? Because I feel like it says a lot about who you are as a person.
Yeah, now that we know how we all eat candy, let's do this. All right.
Yeah.
Your
I
favorite
know I'm
Good to Go.
hijacking your shoe.
No. Justin, your favorite Good to Go.
I don't even remember all of them. It had to be like the pad thai or the three bean chili.
Jake?
They had a Vietnamese like a pho soup. Oh my god. I just love that.
Are we going to say that was your favorite meal, your favorite trail meal?
That's my favorite Good to Go flavor for sure. But
Tanya,
my favorite.
Go ahead.
Sorry,
I'm sorry, Jake. Go ahead.
No, you're
Finish.
good. No, let's do one thing at a time. What's their
Tanya and Stan? Do you guys have any Good to Go meals? Did you guys eat those?
I think so, but if we're just talking like favorite freeze dried meal, the backpacker pantry creme brulee, like I could eat that all day, every day for every meal. Like whenever they had it in stock at any REI or whatever, I bought every single one that they had in stock, and I didn't care. I carried the weight.
She'll go into the store now and buy one of those. And
I
eat it.
would. I swear to God, I would.
Yeah. Good to Go. I'm with Justin. The three bean chili I like. I didn't eat a bunch of those on the trail, but I really enjoyed the peak meals a lot. I thought those were really good, and I had a lot of. I thought those were pretty high quality and a lot of calories in those as well. But if it's the other one, if it's the Good to Go's, I'm with you on the three bean chili. It's a good one.
And Jake, back to you. Is that your favorite meal on the trail, or
no? So I ate like very basic ramen bombs all the way through, basically. But I did have something I'm proud of was I'd make hiker Thanksgiving like once every couple weeks, and that is for those of you that are gonna go out on a trip, keep this in mind. You take this makes two meals, so each is like a half of a portion of this. You take a half of a thing of instant stuffing, half of a bag of instant mashed potatoes, one packet of turkey gravy, dried cranberries, and a chicken packet. And you make the stuffing. It takes like 2 minutes in boiling water. You throw your mashed potatoes in there to soak everything up, your gravy, your chicken, you stir that all in, put your cranberries in there, let them get plumped up a little bit, and it's just like a Thanksgiving dinner right there in your pot. That's awesome. And then another thing we did that was really, my friend Sonar turned me onto this. Going through Glasgow, we got frozen. We would go to, like, if you could, especially Walmart, but like some other stores, they'll have the Amy's big burritos. They're frozen burritos, and they're really cheap. And we would get two of them, and we pack them next to our cheese to keep our cheese from melting. So your first day, it's your ice pack for your perishable, for your cheese or whatever. And then the second day, it's like thawed out, and then you take them out and you put them on your pack, and you hike with them on your pack all day. And by the time it's lunchtime, you pull them out, and they're like at least lukewarm. And I wouldn't say it's delicious, but I was rather proud of how clever I thought that was.
That is extra points for ingenuity there and cleverness, Jake. I like that idea.
We hiked with Sonar quite a bit as well. And
I love that dude.
Yeah, he's a great guy. And he was telling me about those meals.
Actually, you skipped me on the regrets earlier, and this brings
sorry.
it up. No, that's okay. This brings it up though, is that my regret is I didn't take more pictures with other hikers because I was going through all of my pictures yesterday and I made a YouTube of just pictures from Georgia to Maine. And I don't have pictures of like me and Sonar or me and Turtle Wizard or me and Clutch, you know, like all the fireball, like, so I asked Stan, I was like, any pictures you have with anyone, please send them to me. And I wish I would take more pictures with others. Sonar
You're
being one
just
of
over
them.
here naming people I wish I would have hiked with more.
See?
Those were all cool people too.
Yeah.
They were great.
Excellent. And Tonya, do you have a favorite meal? You know, you touched on it. You like the freeze-dried meals. Do you have a meal that was your favorite while you were out there?
Did I answer this already? Didn't I say Sour
You and
Patch
Stan
Kids?
kind of answered it together. so
Sour
I don't know.
Patch.
The
Oh,
Sour
that was something I
Patches?
didn't get sick of.
Okay.
We
Now,
can move
Justin,
on.
we're going to start with you on this next one. Was there one person or a group of people that you missed while you were out there that you missed the most?
Did you say we're starting with me?
Yep.
You mean like people like back home or something?
Yeah. That you were missing was, you know, a parent, a loved one, a sibling.
I miss my friends because like we know each other, we know how to have fun together. And on trail, it's sort of like I didn't feel like I was having so much fun. And I felt like, hikers can't sort of lose focus. So there was only so much fun to be had, at least with the hikers that I was around. And when everybody was sort of done with their fun, I was like, are we done? Is that it? So I wish that my friends had been around and I think I would have had a more fun time.
Jake? Was there somebody back home you were missing?
Yeah, I mean, I had a really good time. I don't feel like I got too homesick. But my girlfriend was like really my rock through the whole thing. So it wasn't necessarily that like I was missing her, but she was probably the one person that was on my mind more than anybody. But we were able to stay pretty close, so it wasn't that difficult for me really.
Tonya and Stan, you guys met on the trail.
Yep.
Yes.
But I'd have to imagine there must have been people at home or somebody out there that from time to time you missed or you wish you can talk to or sit down and have a cup of coffee or a meal with. Tonya, who would that have been for you?
I don't want to sound heartless, but I didn't.
Okay. No, that's
I
honest answers are good.
mean, I'm single. I don't have a husband or a boyfriend. I don't have kids. I don't really have much family. I'm close to like my cousins, my aunts, my best friends. It's kind of everyone's scattered around the country. So I have like my texting thread that I was in contact with everyone regularly, but like I don't see them in my day-to-day life already. So it wasn't really that different. And I live in my RV and travel. So, I'm already kind of a nomad. So I didn't really have that. I loved that Stan's family took me in and loved me and accepted me and like celebrated my birthday with me. And so I got that kind of, that sense of community and companionship through Stan's family that I wouldn't have gotten if we weren't hiking together. But now, honestly, off trail, I miss trail life.
And Stan, you had at different times met up with members of your family, but were there times when you were out there where you missed them?
Yeah, of course I miss them. But we had a group chat going the whole hike. So almost every day when I had service, this group chat would come in and I felt connected via that group chat. Um, I would say that I really missed. I know you guys are probably going to think I'm crazy, but I missed my work family that I'd really come to know and love, people there that I've worked with. Um, and that I wasn't going back there. And so I did miss, good friends within that, you know, context of a work situation that I knew for years and years.
Right. At this point, I want to give everybody an opportunity to maybe ask each other some questions. you know, Jake, you
Jake,
have any
when
questions?
did you? Oh, okay.
Oh, go ahead. No, you
It's
can
not a
go. If you got the
free-for-all,
first
sorry.
question, Stan, you can go ahead. If you've got the first question, you're prepared. So you being prepared means something here. Jake, you didn't look prepared. It looked like I caught you
Handles
off
up
guard.
first. Take you go.
Go ahead, Stan.
When did you summit, Jake?
August 28th.
August 28th. Okay, so you were just a little over a week ahead of us.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, and your girlfriend, she still lives in Chambersburg?
No, her parents were actually staying. Her parents bought a house down in Florida like a decade or so back, and basically part of the reason I was able to save up for the hike is that like we take care of the place and we pay like a portion of the mortgage. Our rent's really cheap, so we live down in Florida together. But her parents are up in Chambersburg, so I got to kind of pop by and see them.
Yeah,
on my
my
way
sister and my mother are in that area. In fact,
Okay.
they live like, within 5 miles of Caledonia.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, now I know some of you guys were talking or in touch with each other, if not all of you, at one time or another on this trip. That's why I thought it'd be interesting now that we're all here together to do this.
Yeah, I actually ran into Jake. It was the Damascus Diner, wasn't it?
Yeah, you were like ahead of me at that point. You were slack
Yeah.
packing with somebody and you popped into
Slack pack
Damascus.
the whole trail.
I'm the king of slack pack.
Then I saw you Sobo coming out of Harrisburg, maybe. I think
Yeah,
Yeah.
we
it was like a
packed
really
Sobo from
rainy,
Harrisburg.
horrible day to be doing a long slack. I felt so bad
Yeah.
for you guys.
We did
Yeah.
that 20-mile slack pack out of Harrisburg from Angel's Rest on a really rainy, nasty day.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, back to the regret. One regret I had, I really wanted to run into Justin on the trail and just, talk with him and hike with him some.
He was
And
always too
but
far
he
ahead of us.
freaking guy was going too fast.
He needed to take more zeros.
Yeah, exactly.
I regret I didn't take enough zeros.
You should hung out with us.
Yeah. Zoe would have loved you.
I almost caught you in Vermont. If
I
I would have
remember
got back on, if I wouldn't have gone to the long trail, I would have seen you because you were in Bennington when I was in Rutland.
Yeah,
I was so
I remember
close.
that.
And then we ran into each other at trail days.
Yes.
I don't know. It was just like so much was going on. We didn't really get a chance to like stop and really, we had kind of an interaction and I walked away going, I wish I would have had a chance to have a real conversation because there was so much going on. I kind of walked away. I was like, well, that was not what it could have been. I did feel kind of bad about that. I'm like, I wish I got a chance to like talk to you more a little bit about, your experience and all of that. But yeah, I was lucky enough to run into everybody.
I think Justin was having fun, just like slowing down enough for you guys to kind of catch up with him, and then he'd do his thing where he'd start crushing his miles.
I feel like everybody who I wanted to meet and all the people who were sending me messages who wanted to meet me, they were so far behind me. And I was like,
Yeah.
if I get off track for like 2-3 weeks to let you catch up, I promise you I'm not coming back. So I just had to keep going.
What was your
Yeah,
start
got
date?
it.
I remember you being like watching a live stream. We were at the that store that does the half-gallon challenge. I was with my friends Beastie and Soul. And like you popped in the live stream and it was like, oh my God, Trailhead Justin. I was like, I know that guy.
Yeah, somebody texted me and they said, get on live. And I'm like, what's on live? And then there are all these people. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Tonya, did you have a question?
Oh, I was asking Justin what his start date was.
Oh, February 20th, I started the approach trail.
Oh, how did I did Trail Magic because I was living in Georgia in my RV for the month before I got on trail March 3rd. And I did Trail Magic and I thought I met most of the people who started around like, because there was that big cluster that started the 22nd, the 2/22/22.
Yeah.
And I should have just specifically reached out and said, hey, let me meet up with you so I can give you some Trail Magic before I get on trail.
And I knew that you were in Georgia because I saw you doing some practice hikes before that, but it didn't even register to me.
Yeah, I met up with Mischief and a couple other guys, like, because I was going to mountain crossings like every day and just asking people if they needed anything. I could take them into town, get Walmart, get resupply or whatever. I had a couple people stay in my RV with me. And then I went to Woody Gap and brought McDonald's to people. That was fun. It's fun. It's fun being a trail angel. I was like, dang it, I should have met up with Justin before I got on trail.
Well,
Since you were
I
way
have a
ahead of
regret.
me.
I have a regret. I really wanted to get out and meet you guys when you're going through New Jersey and New York, and it just never worked
Mm.
out. You know,
Aw.
somehow you guys, you know, when a couple times, it was, you know, you guys had already passed through the area, and that's something I really wanted the opportunity to meet you
Aw,
guys in person.
Yeah, that would
that
have
would have
been
been
fun.
nice.
Yeah.
We did have an amazing trail angel help us out in New Jersey. So almost all of New Jersey, we were staying with her and she slack packed us.
You
We
guys
got
are just
slack
slack
packed
pack
everywhere,
magnets. Like
Tonya.
everybody wanted to slack pack you guys.
It was a
It's
little
true.
crazy. But you know what? We were like, we are never going to turn down an offer to slack pack or stay in someone's home. So, like, if someone was going to message me and say, hey, when you get to Virginia, when you get to here, I'm like, okay.
The first stretch I slack packed was way down in oh, where was it? The
Around
very first
Damascus.
stretch was with Jimmy. And
Yeah, because that's
Jimmy,
where you met up with me.
yeah, that's when I met up with you. And Jimmy was gonna just slack pack me for an afternoon. And the next thing I know, he slack packed me 100 miles. It was like it was crazy. But he knew I'd done a lot of trail magic. And so he was like kind of paying it forward. And so it was like, well, he's offering, I'm gonna do it. And that was a great experience, just getting to, you know, relate to him and know him as well. You know, he's a really great guy. But so that was fun.
Well,
I'm surprised, Justin, with the amount of followers that you have, that you didn't have more people reaching out and saying, hey, let me meet you on trail and slack pack you or come stay with me or something like that. Was that something you experienced?
I did have some trail angels who offered to do that. I had some people bring me food. Some people
Mm.
came and got me from the trail and let me stay at their house for a night or two. So that did happen.
Did they
Okay.
bring you Chipotle?
Yeah, I got Chipotle
That's
twice.
awesome. Wow, awesome.
Oh my gosh.
well, I want to thank all of you in the most sincerest way I can for participating in this. I have had a lot of fun getting to know the four of you. I've, you know, sharing this with not just with me, but my listeners. Hopefully we all stay in touch. If anybody's going to go out and do anything really cool, let me know. You all have an open invitation to come on and share with me if you're doing anything. If you're promoting your YouTube or something cool you have going on, please don't hesitate, because you guys are great.
Cool.
I have really enjoyed this past year of talking to all four of you and feel like I've been a part of your experience. Not out there on the trail with you, but following you on your YouTube channels and having you on the podcast.